Hello, my beautiful souls. This is the Messy Human Tarot, and I'm your host, Ruby. So I'm an expert at being messy and human at the same time. That's the truth. More often than not, a lot of the tarot that I do is kind of like help support myself and then I want to help support other people too as best as I can, because ultimately I know we want to be perfect, and I know, I get it, like being perfect is the best thing in the whole entire world, except it's unachievable. That is the intro here. If you want, feel free to move forward ahead to the reading. I kind of go with the flow with the readings. I try to see where things are going. I try not to put myself in a box. So I'll put a timestamp below where you can just kind of like move it to that point. A lot of the stuff I do is kind of like bare bones, like as I am prioritizing my well-being. I'm not here to make this look fancy or perfect. I'm not trying to sound like a certain way. I'm just being honest and authentic as best as I can, which is not always easy, because oftentimes when we're trying to be authentic as readers, we're kind of like, we get a lot of stuff in the background in our heads, and we're trying to kind of like manage, or like we want to be seen, we want to be noticed, because we want to be monetized. So I'm going to be honest with you. In the back of my head, somewhere down there somewhere, there's this desire to be monetized. But the goal ultimately is to kind of like go with the flow and enjoy life, and and allow great spirit to come forth and say hello. So with that said, we're going to move forward. The usual disclaimer: I'm not Emily C., Doctor, Financial, Legal Advisor. All choices are your own. Internally timeless, general entertainment value, and ultimately it's up to you. Your choices are your own. I'm not responsible for those choices. So let's move forward. I'm going to start with the Star Codes Astral Oracle. I feel very drawn to it. There's a couple other decks I have just in case. I feel like it's going to be really important for us to have a relationship with ourselves. I'm going to start with something that kind of inspired me to do this reading ultimately. So I have been contemplating a great many things, and a lot of it is relationship to the self. And sometimes what will happen is we'll harden up because the world is very overwhelming. Partnership, which is very fascinating in itself, because you oftentimes do need to be in partnership with your emotions, your feeling state, to manifest, but also to cope with the world. When we harden ourselves, we actually are going against ourselves and our well-being. Achieve. So I'm sensing that you want to go full steam ahead. You're very much like, okay, like I need to show myself that I have been successful. And it's not to say that this is a bad card to receive in the reading. It's not that at all. But maybe we can have a different relationship with achievement. Maybe a little softer. Sometimes being successful can be, oh, I did my coping strategies today. Oh, I felt my feelings. Oh, I actually liked myself today. Oh, I didn't feel the need to be in control today. that's a pretty good achievement if I do say so myself. And it's really interesting because this is coming out reverse. Cancer for immerse. And it's very fascinating because I'm flipping it over so that way I can see it. Because I mean, what are signs? I feel like are very. I'm not saying that they're always emotional. I mean, I'm a fire sign, so that means we are very emotional. We may pretend we're not, but we are very emotional people. And a lot of it is because we feel very inspired by this world. But I feel like with cancer's been kind of popping up in my dreams a lot lately with people having cancer, and even the news. And I think we are very often afraid that emotions are going to eat us up from within. And sometimes what will happen is we will just reject the feeling state and we will be so in disharmony with ourselves. We'll create stress responses through the defense mechanisms, which will cause neurotoxins in our body, and then we can legitimately get sick because we have not contended with our own emotions. And I think this reading is definitely about emotions. We have midheaven, pinnacle, and alliance. And so I feel like Great Spirit, what they're really, and collaborate. I'm feeling drawn to collaborate. Okay. All right. All right, so I'm going to show these cards, right? Really want you to look at that. Do you see that? What does that remind you of? Two of Pentacles, right? Yeah, the pouring of the cups. Oh, let's take a look at this. Geese. Oh, that just made me think of something. Yeah, geese fly home. They might leave when the colder months come, but they always come back home. And then we have this one, Pinnacle, Midheaven. Where do you see that? So I'm feeling Four of Wands energy a little bit. You have partnership in here too, so that's interesting. If we look at Juno, let's look at this a little bit. Look at the two birds. Doesn't that feel like lovers energy too? Self-love is a very fascinating concept, and I think with Buddhism they don't talk about self-love. It's more like, well, do you respect yourself? And I could be wrong because I'm no expert in Buddhism, but I'm a very big expert in humanity. I feel like, when we're going against ourselves, we're not in alliance with ourselves. Like when we treat ourselves with disrespect, we may say things like, oh, I'm horrible, I'm a horrible person, oh, I'm no good at this, I'm no good at anything in my life, I'm a failure, I hate myself. You are going against yourself. You're not in alliance with yourself. You're not in harmony with anything. And I think it's time for some introspection so you can be in alignment, because ultimately, you are telling yourselves a message. You're telling yourself what you expect of your world, what you expect of manifestation. And when we tell ourselves these things like, I hate myself, I don't like myself, how do you expect to manifest a better world, a better life? We need our feeling state to manifest. But if what you're feeling is causing you to harden yourself, to kind of disconnect your feeling state, then you're not in alignment with yourself. And ultimately, a lot of people might think, well, how do I do that? Like, I don't get that. Like, this is my reality, right? This is my reality. And I feel yeah, I do. But the people that I find more successful in life are the ones who say, this is my best life. I'm feeling good about this. The Wheel of Fortune's been popping up in my head, but the specific interpretation that really like of someone stuck, but they're still laughing and enjoying life. Like, have you ever seen a Wheel of Fortune that looks like that, where it's like, oh, I'm stuck here. I can treat this as if this is my worst fortune ever, or I can treat this as if this is the time of my life. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. This is my good fortune. And in Buddhism, there's this story they talk about, I think, for some groups, where the father goes through a journey where misfortune occurs that leads to good fortune, and good fortune leads to misfortune, and so forth. And so the question becomes, well, what is really good fortune and what's really bad fortune? I mean, really, ultimately, good things can lead bad things can lead to good things. So I think ultimately what Great Spirit's saying is, this is your choice. You can make the choice. I mean, often if you look at Two of Wands, Two of Swords, they're talking about choices. I mean, it's kind of like a different lens on, and I feel like Two of Swords is like, what are you choosing to think about, versus Two of Wands, like, what are you choosing to be inspired by? And we may think, well, what are you talking about being inspired by? Well, a positive feeling state and a negative feeling state, there's this drive, this energetic inspiration to experience something. And you could be inspired to feel something shitty, or feel really inspired to feel something really good. And I remember I was lying with my son. I'm going like, oh, I'm not a really good mother. Oh, I'm a horrible mother. And I stopped myself and I said, no, actually, he looks really happy. He seems really content. He's showing all the signs of being happy. Why do I think that I'm a bad mother? I'm choosing Two of Swords. I'm choosing my thoughts. I could be inspired by the feeling state my son is sharing with me. He's saying, Mama, like, you're the best. That's an opportunity for me to see something that my son sees in me. That's a Two of Wands experience, actually, too, to some extent. So, again, it's like that Wheel of Fortune mentality. You can choose so much. You're the one that chooses your fortune. Have you ever had a fortune cookie? Some of those fortune cookies are kind of like, oh, what the frick. But you can make that fortune cookie for yourself. You can open that up and eat that cookie and be like, yeah, you're right. Today is a day filled with endless possibilities. Today is a good day to buy that lottery ticket. I love your cards, by the way. I really do. Because it's very gentle, and when I look at it, I still see different things. Like 7th house, relationship. Again, there's this clasping, this connection. It's about connections. And twos are often about balance and coming into harmony, whether it's with yourself or the external world. And I remember recently feeling very uncomfortable with myself, and then I paused. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm coming up to that time of the month, right? Sorry if you're a guy. I'm sorry, but in order to be in harmony with the inner feminine, you have to know your inner cycles too. And us ladies have cycles that we have no choice but be aware of. And if that's TMI for you, then I'm sorry about the Miss Human Tarot. You walked into this reading and you have to digest a lot of different things. Look at that, 2 hands again. 2 hands. What are you going to make in this world? You make so much. There's moons, stars. And we have to be so mindful of what we ingest too, right? You know, self-care, self-love, respect to the self. An understanding of what is best for ourselves can help us be in alignment with ourselves too. I don't want to go too far down the street. Like, it feels like I could, if I want, talk a little bit more, but I don't think so. I really don't think so. Yeah, I don't. But what I will do is I'm going to take a picture of this, and I'm just going to scramble it around and blah, 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 blah. You see what you see. But this is the last bit of this reading. What you're going to see from here on forward is, like, whether it's long, short, pick a card, or just one reading at a time. It's going to be based on my inspiration because I'm trying to focus on my well-being, but also too, I want the content to reflect who I am. I think for a very long time I wanted to reflect what I thought would draw people in. And now that I'm getting older, I'm like, no, because that drains me. I used to be like, why am I drained? Why am I so drained by these readings? It's because I went against my current. I went against my seasons. I went against my rhythm, my inner compass. I felt like I needed to belong, and I thought that was more important. But I am who I am. And I'm starting to be okay with that. So the readings that show up are because it was exactly what it needed to be. I hope you found some goodness out of these readings. I'm going to let you go. Merry meet, blessed be, amen, to good health, and to lose it.